If you're looking for the best clothing deals in Salt Lake County, one place stands out for the price, quality, and the selection, and that's Zalzo. Zalzo is your destination for up to 70% off premium and mid-luxury brands every single day. Tucked just off of 3900 South in Murray, Zalzo carries the brands you actually want to wear at the prices you're happy to pay. Run over to our store today and see for yourself the weekly updates to the always impressive and expansive inventory of both adult and children's clothing. While you're here, don't forget to check out the weekly markdown racks with even steeper deals. Stuck on a work call? Go to Zalzo.com, that's ZALLZO.com for information and a listing of in-store deals. Zalzo, you'll come in just to look, but we know you'll leave hooked.
As our coach said, it's going to be a dogfight, but we are ready for that, and it's 90 minutes, we need to give everything, so yeah, we need to be locked in.
At the end of the day, the fans would see it, no? We've been trying to represent them on the pitch, and we are going to give our 100% every single game for them. And
can't wait to get back and put on, the RSL jersey and in front of the fans that have been amazing support. Without them, without RSL, I wouldn't be where I'm at right now, so I'm extremely grateful and I'm excited.
What's up, RSL Nation?
Welcome to the Royal Riot.
Salvas gets it away. Catranes, the square ball. Diego Luna! It's Diego Luna now trying to turn. Luna! Oh, it's in! What a goal! A lot of space for Johnny Russell. Johnny Russell! His first start for Real Salt Lake. His first goal for Real Salt Lake. One hole! Magnificent from Real Salt Lake. And Noel Kaliskan with the best goal he's probably ever scored.
Oh, turns, overlap on the right side. Gonzalez! Yes!
Brian Ojeda. Here's a Ghana, third time. Is it a charm? Malagon, Luna! Yeah! Cabral has been insatiable in goal. Zuniga now! Cabral, the hero! Man, this guy's good! They have found a keeper in Salt Lake City!
Welcome back to another episode of Royal Riot. It is Tuesday, April 28th, or Monday, April 27th, if you are listening to us live. We are joined here by probably the first disappointing week in the 2026 season for RSL. Hasn't been a fun week where RSL dropped 2 matches.
Oh, thanks for that intro, bro. I'm doing good. I'm happy to be here with you guys, and excited
before we get into that, we are joined here by the beautiful LD. How are you doing today? I'm excited too. I'm excited just to have a little frustrating episode. It's kind of fun to have those every now and then, Things were too happy for a little bit. David, how are you doing today?
Good. I would say, 3 games in 8 or 9 days. I don't know how you calculate it, but really, I like watching a lot of soccer, so it was great with that, but the results didn't go our way, so I'm sad about that. But I'm happy to be here with you boys. It's a lot to talk about, I would say.
Well, we do have a lot to talk about today, so let's hop right into it. RSL took on Miami Wednesday night, 7:30 p.m. local time, host to the great Lionel Messi, and that game was something else leading up to it. LD, the Miami fan, I guess, just wanted to hop right out. But Miami comes in bringing a very full lineup. It's not too much rotation for him. Lionel Messi, of course, does start with Bertarame, DePaul, Segovia. A lot of really good players in this Miami lineup. RSL comes out nearly full strength. One big difference, Engel did get hurt in pregame warmups, which means we had Sam Junka get the start. And then Sanabria was not ready quite yet to go the full match, so we got Catranes instead on that left-hand side. Other than that, fairly strong lineup. We did have PQ out as well in this one. He was not available even off the bench, but really solid lineup for RSL. You had Salons, Luna, and Morgan Giavogi up top, and then Gozo and Yedlin with Spearings, Kaliskan in the middle, Katranis on the left, Junka and Glad as the other two center back pairings, with Cabral, of course, leading the way in the back of the goal. So, this game started off pretty solid for RSL, right? We got off to a hot start. Salons had a terrific opportunity that he just couldn't put in. Glancing header. I really thought from my angle that he did get this goal. It was really unfortunate that we weren't able to get it. He has another crack at a different goal. He swings and misses, but no worries because Morgan is there to clean it up, put the ball in the net in around the 5th minute, I believe. And I really thought RSL was off and running and they were looking fantastic. However, the AR does go ahead and raise her flag. LD, apparently his power just went out, which is hilarious, by the way. But offside is called. RSL goal, not going for him. And that's about as good as it got for the rest of the half. It was Miami from there on out. RSL couldn't maintain possession. Kaliskan and Spearings both very much struggled. Luna was really going as hard as he could, doing his thing. Got a Coke advertisement up here for David. That's all right. But really just not too much going RSL's way. RSL did have a nice opportunity at the end of the first half where Luna had a very nice touch where it sprung goes. He takes the shot, misses. The other big opportunity in this first half was Messi had a great shot against Cabral. Cabral was able to get that stop. But yeah, I feel like this game overall, we don't have to go play by play because by now it's been almost a week since the game. RSL just struggled in this. They didn't look themselves. They didn't look like the young attacking team that we're used to seeing that's fast and on the counter and pressing. And right from the get-go, I felt like we changed up the way that we were playing this game due to Miami. My keys to the match last week that we talked about was doing the exact opposite of that. You had to play your game and you had to try to force Miami to either A, suffer the consequences of you playing your game, or B, adapt. And I felt like we didn't play how we normally play. The biggest way is we didn't press like we normally do. And that was something that I noticed right off the bat. RSL just really struggled getting the ball back. It didn't look like they were trying to be as aggressive. And I get it. You have a guy named Lionel Messi ready to go on any counter. That's scary. But I think pretty much everyone thought Miami was going to get 2 goals in this game. The big thing was RSL needed to get a couple as well, and I thought they were going to get 3 or 4 against this Miami midfield and this Miami defense. That's really not that great. They're one of the biggest struggles, especially with Bright out for a game here, and he ended up getting his suspension an extra game. So overall, as far as the actual game goes, RSL just really struggled in this one. David, what did you see?
So, like you said, we started off pretty well, but it became a little bit of choppy throughout the game as well. There was a lot of calls. The referee literally got in the way of the play multiple times throughout the match.
Yeah.
That was kind of ridiculous. But like you said, we just didn't play our game. I would think that we should have played Gozo a ton more than we actually did. He had I believe one decent one-on-one opportunity, but I was so surprised that we just didn't make that backline move as we've done in the past 5 games before Inter Miami. And we didn't really see the gaps of space. We didn't see Salons get really much space from the center backs. I was really disappointed in our attack overall. Not really our defense because, okay, yes, Inter Miami turned it on for about 5 minutes in the 80th to 85th. I think that they saw that, or maybe even felt that they had an opportunity to win this game when it was 0-0 in 80th. Really, those substitutions were great, and they were world-class goals, to be honest, as well. Like, DePaul's hit was amazing. Suarez's hit, no keeper's going to get to that, but really just lackluster in the attack. And I would say that, and I don't want to go too much into the LA Galaxy game, it was a little bit better in the LA Galaxy game. So I don't think it's no cause for alarms yet. But RSL really just didn't bring the fireworks that we all predicted. We all predicted that Real Salt Lake would at least get 1 goal, 2, right? But no one got our predictions. So overall, Inter Miami came. They played really good for, I would say, 5-10 minutes, and they left with 3 points.
Yeah, I mean, just really frustrating, especially the way that we gave up the second goal to Suarez. We just couldn't clear the ball, and then it was a world-class hit. The hit itself on both goals, can't stop it. The lead-up and the build-ups absolutely could have done better on both of them, which was extremely frustrating. But, I mean, you really can't be too upset about the goals. I thought that Glad played really well in this game. I thought he really did a great job on Lionel Messi. I thought that he did a great job on Berterame. And then I really thought that Yedlin was just okay for me. Junka had some moments where Messi was twisting and turning him, but overall, Messi didn't get behind him. Messi wasn't the major difference maker in this game. We were able to contain Lionel Messi, which was kind of crazy, and it really did come down to the other world-class players, the other guys from Atletico Madrid and La Liga that they have on that team that were able just to tear into those volleys. And it really was unfortunate that RSL couldn't get a result, couldn't get a goal. And the biggest frustration of all is you had a lot of fans there that were there for the very first time. And the hope had to have been, hey, they're here for one player. Let's put on a performance. Let's get him back here for us, right? I have no problem with anybody there that is a Utah local that was wearing a Miami kit, wearing a Messi kit, wearing an Argentina kit. If you were there doing that, that's awesome. Have fun going and watching one of the greatest players, if not the greatest player of all time, in my opinion, go play ball in your stadium, in your home city. That's so sick. That's crazy. My hope is that you will come back next time in an RSL jersey. And off this performance, it's really hard that I don't think it was very convincing. I did hear some people around me talking about, this is that Luna guy. Oh, this is that Gozo guy. So it's like, people are hearing about it. It's the guy right next to me was in a Messi Argentina kit, and he kept on talking, oh yeah, there's Gozo, there's young Gozo, or oh yeah, there's Luna. Oh, let's see what Luna does. Like, they know who our main guys are, but they just didn't perform up to the expectation that we really needed them to. Morgan got a lot of hate after this game, and I think a lot of it was because of his attacking third. I thought Morgan was one of our better players in this match, especially in the midfield. His attack has to be better, though, especially as our DP9. We have to start getting that much more. However, that attacking third right before the box, he was very good at passing that ball on the heat map. That's where he shows up the most, is on the Miami half of the field, but before the penalty box. Unfortunately, we do need those heat maps to start moving towards the penalty box a little bit more. We need him to take shots. In this match, he had at least 2 or 3 opportunities where he was just too unselfish or just trying to find the perfect shot. And it went back to last year, I feel like, where guys are just like, all right, we got to find the perfect shot, just rip it. Take the shot. Like, even Gozo ripped a couple and missed. You're going to miss some shots, but you're not going to make them unless you're taking them. So a little bit frustrating. LD, welcome back to the podcast. Happy to have you with your fake power outage. We just got done talking about, just to catch you up to speed here, RSL's defense played overall pretty well. Really held Messi in check throughout this game. Biggest thing, 2 world-class goals. Not too much you can do about the actual strikes game.
Just want to make sure I'm coming through okay. Good?
Yeah, you're good. Yep.
All right, perfect. Awesome. Okay, let me get my head right with all this. Okay, so I thought overall they handled Messi much better than I was expecting. He wasn't super apparent even in the Colorado game, but obviously took his moments when he needed to make a huge impact in that game and to ultimately win the game for them. I felt like RSL honestly really did a good job at not giving. I mean, he definitely had the ball at his feet multiple times where he was driving towards the 18 and could make some stuff happen. But I never really felt like there was any crazy moment in the game where Messi had a clear-cut opportunity to score. Obviously, he had some shots that Cabral was able to nicely defend or save, but not much of that Messi magic that you're used to seeing when he plays. I think part of that was also to the fact that they were on their second away trip after playing Colorado. Maybe not that he was super tired, but just maybe had some heavier legs or, for whatever reason, was a little bit more out of rhythm than usual. I was expecting him to have a little bit more of a highlight reel. Not even just like scoring goals, but just like maybe some more finesse passing, getting through a couple defenders. I mean, we shut him down pretty well. So I thought that was a highlight to RSL's defensive scheme. I felt like we weren't necessarily, I was talking to David about this, shell-shocked, but I felt like the moment got a little big for us at a point. I was telling him, I saw Miami play this Saturday against New England, and I actually wish RSL would have come out and played Miami out here because maybe there would have been a little less pressure on their shoulders with it being Messi's first visit to Utah, the stadium being packed, them feeling like they had to, be the team to really put it to Miami and show us that and show the state that we are a real MLS team that can contend for trophies this year. And I think, there were points throughout the game that you could see that, players like Sergio Solans, who had been really hot and doing really good things in the attack. You obviously have Gozo and Luna, and obviously there was the whole thing with Luna getting IVs because of food poisoning and a lot of different things that were occurring at that time to maybe not have us have such a great performance, but just a little underwhelming in the attack for sure than I was expecting. Miami's a team that you can really take advantage of from their defensive liabilities, and it just wasn't happening. We weren't really doing outside of those first few minutes where we had the almost potential 2 goals actually. There wasn't much of that, which was kind of, just disappointing to see because we've seen plenty of teams this season take advantage of Miami in that aspect and we couldn't, especially with how good our attack is. So that was surprising. But yeah, like overall, it took 2 worldies to beat us, right? An amazing hit by Rodrigo de Paul to put the ball in the back of the net. And then Luis Suarez's really nice finish with his left foot. So, and that was literally them playing a little bit of tennis soccer around our defenders, to be honest, to score that goal ultimately. So I think all in all, it's nothing to be like super depressed and disappointed about. I think you can be disappointed in how the attack played. I think you can be disappointed that it's a team that we could have taken advantage of more often in the defense. And I think it's a team that we could have easily won at home. I think the crowd showed up not only just for Messi, but in support of RSL. Obviously, you're always going to have the rogue Miami fans that show up or the rogue Messi fans to show up. But I was really happy to see how the RSL crowd turned out and the support you could hear for RSL throughout the game. It didn't feel like it was Messi mania that took over that stadium. Definitely a pro RSL crowd. So I was happy to see that. But all in all, a tough. We had another game to prove ourselves later on, and we'll go over that as well, where we can kind of voice some more frustrations probably.
Yeah, no, I think your thoughts encapsulated a lot of what everyone is feeling, where it's like, I mean, you can't be too upset. You got beat on 2 great goals. The biggest thing is the lights were too bright for our attack. And that was where I think you mentioned the pressure. I think the pressure mounting of, hey, is this RSL team for real? And then all the Utah people being like, oh, it's Messi, it's Messi, it's Messi. On top of it, I think that it just mounted to a little bit too much. We've talked a lot this year about how coaching staff, especially Pablo, we've been giving him his flowers for really putting together terrific lineups and doing a lot. This is one where I really feel like coaching does play a part in having that mentality of it is just another player. And I feel like Yedlin kind of had that at the beginning where he was just like, screw it, it's another player. I really wish Engel, not that Junko was bad, I just wish that we had Engel because it would have been another guy that's played against Messi quite a bit. I think that would have been a pretty big key. I feel like Engel, I mean, we'll talk about the Galaxy game. It's a missing part. He needs to get healthy and get healthy fast because it has not been fun with him out so far. It's been 2 matches, but let's go ahead. This is one of the first time, and we didn't do it for Vancouver, so this is the first time that it's going to be harder to give out 3 stars of the match since we're not in a win, and it's like, oh yeah, we have to narrow it down from 5 or 6 guys, and we have to actively choose 3 guys for this one. So David, go ahead and say who you gave your 3 to.
So I think you already talked about him, but Glad performed pretty well this game. Like I said, the defense wasn't horrible. You needed worldies in very short amount of time too. It wasn't like spanned out throughout games that we were dominating, where we were dominated by Miami. Morgan, you already said it, Hayden. See, I'm just agreeing with Hayden at this point. Just agree with him. That's what you need to do as a producer. I want to keep my job, guys. But basically, Morgan did well moving the ball. Yeah, it's for the healthcare plan. That's why I'm here, by the way. But Morgan did really well moving the ball around. And I thought Noel Caliscan did really well, too, with keeping track of the movement of their midfield as well. So shout out to Noel. I think that our CMs were tired after this match, and I think it showed in the next match on Sunday, the Walmart showdown, so to speak. But yeah, overall, I'll give it to Glad, Morgan, and Noel for the Miami game.
Well, and with Caliscan, I thought offensively it wasn't great. He was turning the ball over a ton, but there were so many chances when Lionel Messi was coming down the field trying to go methodical or he would try to go fast, and then all of a sudden Caliscan just kicks the ball away from him. That was where I see very much how you gave him one of your stars. The offensive showing from both midfielders was just really poor for me. Their defense was a lot better. I mean, they were all over the field, and that was a big reason that Messi, I mean, I don't want to say that we locked him up necessarily because I don't want to get attacked, but no goals, no assists. I mean, what else do you want from a team when you're going up against a player like that? So I think you do have to be pretty happy there. Mine, I'm going to go Morgan as well. And I know that a lot of people listening to this are saying, no, Morgan stunk. And I know he had some missed opportunities, but he was one of the only guys that could hold on to the ball and actually help our offense move. Luna, I'm going to give it to him, played through the IVs. And really with Luna, it was more that he was one of the only guys to me that really looked like the lights weren't too bright for him. He looked very frustrated with everyone else around him, and I think that he had a reason to be because he was getting let down over and over and over again. The guys weren't making the runs. The guys weren't pressing with him. He looked like he wanted to do something different from what a lot of the other guys were trying to do. And is that a Luna problem or is that a team problem? To me, it looked like it was more of some of the other guys just weren't on their A game. And I think that one of the big ones, unfortunately, was Gozo. I thought he had a rough game. I mean, obviously, you're going to have those as a young guy. He went over to his family very upset after the game, which I think that there was a lot on this game writing for him just emotionally. And unfortunately, just not being able to get those chances that he's used to, I think was pretty frustrating. He had a really good matchup with Noah Allen, and Allen just locked him down a lot of this game. And we had a couple chances where, again, Gozo shows that he's not a natural right wing back, right? He shows that he got caught on transition a couple times. My last one, I'm going to give it to Glad as well. Really, really good opportunity. I thought that Glad has played really well the last couple games, but this game especially, I thought did a great job locking him down. Audi, go ahead with yours.
First star is going to go to Rodrigo de Paul. The second one to Luis Suarez.
Okay.
My bad. Wrong podcast. That's the other podcast I'm on. My bad. I think, this game was hard for me because
your wife won't let you go on another podcast.
That's true. That's facts. I honestly was trying to think of my three players, and I honestly had a really hard time, coming down to who I would give the stars to. Some of them felt like a reach, but I'm going to give one to Cabral because I think he kept us obviously a lot more in that game than it could have been. Obviously, he's going to be able to say to his kids and anyone he wants to for the rest of his life that he blocked multiple shots of Lionel Messi. And then as well just had a really good game in general. And the two goals that got scored on him, I mean, one, he got his fingers to. It was Rodrigo de Paul's shot, which I don't care. I don't think there's any keeper in MLS that's blocking that shot. And the fact that he got fingers to it was pretty impressive in my opinion. And then the Luis Suarez, he just got hung out left to dry with that one. So I don't think that's any fault to his at all. So I think he did pretty impressive. So I'll give a star to him. I am going to give a star to Noah Caliscan. I actually think he was the one in the midfield that was able to keep some type of a rhythm. When we felt like there was nowhere to go, he would drop back and check two and try to figure out a way to get the ball moving forward, which I like. He wasn't perfect in the attack, but I like that he was at least trying to show up for the occasion and be like, okay, I'm not just going to sit around here and wait for the ball to come to me. I want to go find the ball. And I thought he did that very well for the most part throughout the game. And then defensively, he did really well, which is part of the trend for him. And then this one's going to be a little unorthodox, but I don't really care. I'm going to give it to the pro RSL crowd. I'm going to give a star to them because I was really worried about there being just all pink, all blue and white stripes. And
David just put me in all caps, by the way.
There we go. It's funny because I think I've mentioned it before, but I'm in a chat with a lot of Inter Miami fans and people who are very tied in with the club. And so I was talking about how the one thing that I just cared about and didn't want was being one of those clubs where it felt like the whole stadium was just in pink and you could see Clara and Cobalt theming throughout the stadium, but then the whole crowd was just a home base for Miami. That's what I didn't want because you've seen that in other facilities throughout the league when Miami comes to play. And so I was kind of nervous when I was talking to Hayden at first because Hayden made it seem like that was going to be the case. But then as you sat down, and then for a minute, I was like, oh, well, maybe it's just because people are wearing a lot of Barcelona colors, which probably was the case as well. That probably made it look a lot more RSL friendly. But even just response from the crowd during the game, it didn't seem too Messi mania, which I was very happy about. So shout out to everybody who showed up in support for RSL. You can obviously go there and be happy to see Messi and root for Messi, but then obviously as well be there for your club and want them to win. So I don't think there's any harm in that. So yeah, just wanted to give that a star because I think it's deserved. So
I like it. Honestly, to finish off the Miami match that was, I think RSL did a really, really good job of putting on a show in terms, not on the field, maybe, but in terms of the production that they had for this game and giving it the respect that it deserves, but also not losing their dignity, if that makes sense. Like, I really liked how they approached this match leading up in the 48 hours before the game. Go ahead, Eldy.
I was gonna say before I was gonna say this and I forgot to say it during my little rant there, but like one thing I loved that you gave Diego Luna a star, Hayden, is like when you said it wasn't too bright for him. I agree. Like he was the only one where it felt like during the game, I can't remember who did he get into like a tussle with. Like he was getting into like a little bit. Whose face was he getting
He got
into?
into it.
It was with
Can't remember.
I can't remember who it was either, but like I loved seeing that from him. And then like even Leo like went over to him and started like talking to him, being like not like calm down, but kind of what Leo does when he also tries to get under people's skin. So I could see like Messi go over there and like try to get under Diego's skin a little bit, not like in a very like negative way, but you could tell he was just kind of like, what are you going on about, you know? But I loved seeing that from Diego because it felt very much like, okay, he's not starstruck. This is just another team that he's getting pissed off and annoyed about. And like he's there to like do business. And I felt like that's the kind of response that I wanted. You know, I get that people want to go up and ask for his jersey, and obviously, like, they've earned that right to be in that position to do so. But I loved how Diego Luna just looked so pissed off after, was just, you know, kind of done, wanted to just go into the tunnel. Like, it
Yelling
just
at
seems
the
like,
refs, the sideline, like
yes, yeah, like, it just seemed like he is on such a bigger pedestal compared to some of the other players, and deservedly so, right? He's played for the U.S. men's national team. He has a ton of potential to go eventually play in Europe, and I just liked that from him. So I'm really happy you gave him a star because I think he deserved that with not only just his playing on the field and playing basically what we call a flu game. I wish it could have been a little more Michael Jordan-esque where he just like took the game over. And
yeah.
could you imagine just like getting IVs pumped into him with food poisoning and the dude just scores a brace and an assist or something? But unfortunately we couldn't get that. But yeah, I was happy to see kind of how he represented RSL in the sense of like, I know Messi's on this field, but like I don't care. I know Suarez and Rodrigo de Paul are right there, and I don't care. I know this is Inter Miami, but like I'm gonna get in your face like it's any other team. You know? And I think that was a really cool way to represent our club.
I thought that the best part, too, was how the RSL fan base reacted when he went onto the field. He actually came on slightly after the rest of the team was on the field. And I have not heard a pop like that for a single RSL player entering the field for warmups in a very long time, if ever. Like, they knew that that was their guy. Obviously, Messi got a bigger pop, right? Messi was the guy that night. Let's not kid ourselves. But when Luna was on the ball, people were getting excited. The crowd was getting into it. Whenever he was on the ball, people were getting loud, just like they were with Messi. And obviously, again, I'm not trying to say Luna and Messi are the same, but I thought Luna held his own. And a lot of even stars in this league, they get starstruck and they just say, oh, I'm playing with Messi. This is awesome. And they don't care as much about them. And I thought Luna, the only thing that I needed from him was being more selfish on the ball. But I thought his attitude in this one was really what I want from a star caliber player, is just saying, hey, I'm that guy. I don't really care about anyone else, even if it's Lionel Messi. And I know Messi fans are always pissed when you say that you don't care about him, but I like the attitude from a player, right? But let's go ahead and move on to RSL.
Sorry, one last
Unfortunately,
thing. I'm sorry. I don't know if you guys already went over this, but I just wanted to ask you this. Do you feel like you two who were in attendance got the experience that you wanted of Messi and Miami coming to town? And do you feel like you can answer for the general fan base if it lived up to the moment?
Well, I mean, so I got to run on that was top 3 coolest moments of my life. Being like, and I can't tell my wife where it ranks in top 3. I have to say top 3 for a very specific reason, because being that close to not only Lionel Messi, but all the other players was insane. That was one of the coolest opportunities I've ever had. And then after that, the actual game, the only thing is I do wish that honestly Leo Messi just scored at the end to put it 3-0, because I was like, if we're already going to lose, it would be kind of cool to see the dude score. Like, we're already losing. We're not coming back at this point. Like, we're tired. You can see that we're demoralized. So I was like, well, let him score. But Cabral had none of it. He did not want to let Leo score on him. So I get it. But that was the only thing where I felt if we actually had a Messi goal, because I've now seen Messi play twice against RSL and I haven't seen him score yet. So that would have been something cool just to see that the fan base, the pop around the crowd. And then, of course, RSL goals would have made it sick. But yeah.
You know what, though? Posterizing Andrew Brody might be the next best thing besides a goal. So
yeah, that'll live in viral highlights forever.
But I want to hear from you, David, real quick.
No, of course. I think, yeah, Hayden definitely had a different experience because even if it wasn't Inter Miami, that's a pretty cool experience to be like the season ticket holder of the match. But just as a guy who went in, got his swig, and sat down and watched
That's the
Inter
most
Miami
Utah
play.
thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, it was the Diet Coke, by the way, for the audience, by the way. So I'll say it. I'm a true Utahn. But I said that I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the crowd, honestly. That was probably the best part of it. I was around, I would say, people that were kind of like around Hayden as well, which those people were like there for Messi, but then they were also appreciating what Real Salt Lake was doing and Luna and Gozo. And I was like, oh, that's super cool. Like they want to see Messi play, but also they were like, no, I'm from like Salt Lake City. Like I want my team to do well. So I really like that. My wife, she watched it, but also she didn't go to this game. She was like, yeah, I'm fine that I didn't go to this game. And it was probably like she was saying, like, if you were going there just for Messi, maybe you feel a little bit disappointed because obviously he didn't get on the score sheet at all. But also for me, like being there, I was like, the vibes were really fun. The drone show was cool. The flyover was like unexpected. It
It
kind
was
of like,
late.
yeah. I didn't think it was like very centered at all. I don't know if you saw that, Hayden, but it was like kind of more, I don't know, is it the south end? But basically I was like, oh, okay. Like that just happened. But really it was a great time. I had a great time with my friends. But yeah, if you're there just 100% for Messi, you probably feel like, "Ugh, I wish there was more out of this game." But if you weren't, then you probably had a really good night, which I did.
If you were an RSL fan, I think you had an okay but frustrating night. Like, I think the overall experience, I don't think too many people left that game wishing they sold their tickets. So that's how I kind of gauge that. Like, how many people get that, like, oh, shoot, I wish I sold them? I don't think too many people. I think most of the people were pleased with what they saw. But overall, I mean, it's a frustrating loss, and the Western Conference is unforgiving this year.
If you're sourcing inventory for TikTok, Whatnot, eBay, or Amazon, Titanic Sales was built for you. We specialize in closeouts, overstock, and opportunity buys on name brand products. In this market, sourcing is everything. Titanic Sales brings you the deals that haven't been picked over, with pricing that leaves real profit on the table. Whether you're testing new products or are ready to scale, we provide a consistent flow of inventory across dozens of categories. Buy smarter, turn faster, and maximize your margin with Titanic Sales. To learn more, call Kevo today at 801-860-8061. Again, the number to call for amazing deals on a wide variety of inventory is 801-860-8061. Titanic Sales. Big inventory, bigger margins.
University of Utah fans, we have fresh new gear for you to elevate your game day and everyday style. Check out brothersforlife.com. That's brothers, F-O-R-E, life.com, where you will find the freshest, officially licensed U of U merchandise. The Blackhawk collection is a dope accessory for fans, alumni, and athletes who rep the U with pride. The design blends iconic U of U branding with a distinctive Brothers for Life aesthetic, making them a standout addition to any Utah fans' collection. BFL Promotions can also assist you in creating custom-made products for your brand or an upcoming event. BFL Promotions is your one-stop shop for a vast array of promotional products and business gifts. Their extensive offering of products will ensure that you find the apparel, bags, drinkware, awards, and much, much more to help you promote your brand. Check them out today at brothersforelife.com and see why so many people use BFL Promotions to show up and to stand out.
They go on the road to LA Galaxy, a team that's just been full of a struggling squad this year. They just lost their leading goal scorer, João Klaus, who had 5 goals on the season. He's been really hot, but they did get Paintsel back, I believe 2 games ago, and Peck has been playing, and it's just been a really up and down team overall for this squad. We'll go ahead, start off. RSL comes out with Cabral, of course, in the goal. Junka again for the injured Engel, Glad, and then PQ comes in for Yedlin, which I did think was very interesting, especially considering PQ was not even available off the bench on Wednesday, which Funny enough, I saw him walking around the concourse before the game on Wednesday. Nobody really noticed him. My buddy was like, "Is that PQ?" He's like, "No way, that's PQ." And I look, I'm like, "Ah, yeah, that has to be PQ. He's tall as hell." It was him. And then we of course have Gozo, Spearing, Scaliscan, and Sanabria or Sanabria.
You said it right. Sanabria.
I said it right. I mixed it up in my head. And then we do have a little bit of rotation up top. Diego Luna, of course, on the left side, but we have Victor Olatunji over Salons, and then we have Aiden Herzakani for Morgan Gilavugi. So that's the RSL lineup that we have rolling out here. All things considering, still a strong lineup. When you look at this lineup, you think this should be a team that can go and get 3 points. We played on Sunday night, and all the other Western Conference teams played, and all the good ones continued to be really good. I was texting LD and just saying how frustrating it is watching the rest of the conference go insane this year because you can't drop points. And it really showed in this one. We're going to go ahead and run through some highlights. David, go ahead and push play, if you will, if it's not glitching too much so that we can just talk through them. I'm actually just going to go ahead. David, let's skip to the Galaxy really golden opportunity where unfortunately Stein Spearing, we got an ad. Stein Spearings goes completely through. Who was it? Who did he go through? Who did he foul in the lead up that led to Marco's goal?
It was it wasn't
Peck?
Royce himself, right? I think it was. No, I don't think it was Peck.
It doesn't
Was
show it on the
Paintsel?
highlights, actually.
Might have been. Either way, the foul, when I first saw it, I was like, all right, I guess I see it as a foul because he does get ball, but he 100% has to go through the player to ensure he got ball. He absolutely got 100% of it. It's just he also got 100% of the player. So really unfortunate foul. It was Peck that he fouled there. So Stein gives up a very dangerous free kick. Now on this, if you go back and watch the highlights, watch Marco Royce. Yeah, thank you. I was struggling on that. Watch Marco Royce. He moves this ball back about 2 yards after the ball has been placed, and the RSL wall is trying to move up a little bit, and the ref tries to stop it. And I mean, at that distance, I think that was a pretty big deal in being able to get it up and over the wall, because when you're that close, it is very difficult to get it up and over, especially when you look at who is in that wall for RSL. Those are some very tall guys in there. So it was impressive to be able to get it up and over. He does stun Cabral, unfortunately. I don't think Cabral could see it until it was too late, and it was just a beauty of a goal. I'm not too upset with the foul that was called here. I don't think this was the most egregious of Victor Rivas. You're going to hear his name quite a bit here, but I don't think it was too egregious, especially since RSL started this game extremely poor. Honestly, I feel like we did deserve to go down a goal this early. It did feel like hopefully a wake-up call because we need to get back into this game. Next big part of this one, let's see, we're at the 19th minute. I believe that's PQ. He goes up to Gozo. Oh, yes, this was a massive moment where Gozo tries to slot the ball into Olatunji. Olatunji gets a foot on it. It was a very nice reactionary save by the LA Galaxy goalkeeper. Olatunji, all he could really do was just get a foot on that and just try to deflect it on target. So he does his job there. Really didn't have time to set himself up for a goal or anything like that. It is always unfortunate right after the ball is shot to have a screen pause or whatever, and see Sanabria just right on the other side of it, completely open. And it's like, oh man, that would have been cool. That ball was able to get through to him. And then the other big moment was in the 22nd minute. Victor Olatunji gets stomped on. He got stomped on pretty good. They did look at it for a good little while. Ends up not being a penalty. I said, okay, whatever. You play on. Unfortunate because, again, I thought the player did kind of what Stein did to Peck, where he goes completely through the player. And then a big opportunity where Paintsel, he had a really bad game in this one. When was the Victor Olatunji main tackle?
Like the one that should have been a red card that everyone was talking about?
Let's talk about that.
It
What
was
minute
right
was
here
that?
in the 30th.
All right, so 35th minute, Victor Olatunji wasn't able to control the ball, but that is okay because I believe it was 2023, Glesnes, Defensive Player of the Year, gives him a gift, and Olatunji is on. It is just him and their other center back to beat. It is a 1v1 situation, and he goes down. And at first, my very first reaction was like, man, you don't play through that. Like, it's a one-on-one opportunity. Try to play through that. And then I see the review, and the dude's arm was wrapped across his entire body on Olatunji's left thigh. The defender was on his right side. His arm was completely wrapped on his left thigh in this one. He also clips him with his back foot. While it might not be intentional on the clipping part, I don't think that part was intentional. That is still a foul. That is clear and obvious, Doc. So I don't know how this is not a red card. This was one of the more shocking ones. The commentators, Taylor Twellman and his partner, were shocked that this was not a red card, that this was not sent to VAR. I know that VAR checks things even if they do not send them to VAR, but for the love, just send them to the monitor so we at least feel like you're doing something. Like, I am so sick of them just not sending them to the monitor on clear instances where it's like, review this, dude. Go ahead, David.
And I'll say this. It's a miracle that this center back didn't even get a yellow. Like, he did this horrendous foul that I'm just going to explain this for our audience. It is a foul, and what makes it a red is that he is last man. So if you call it a foul, you have to get a red. And it puts the referee in a hard position because you have to, that's a game-changing decision. But basically, yes, I wouldn't say it would be the hardest red I've ever seen. It would probably be a soft red, but it's really about the position, where the center back is, where Victor is. And then this guy continues to press his luck, though, and fouls like 3 more times in the game. 3 more times plus this, doesn't get a yellow at all. And I think is one of LA Galaxy's highest rated players. No idea what went on, because it seemed like, and I'm just probably going on a rant, but we didn't get calls like this, and then LA got calls exactly like this for their favor. So it was like very soft on one side of the pitch and very like, oh, well, I don't want to change the game. I don't want to make these calls that are going to have devastating circumstances for the other team, which was us. So that's all I have to say about it. It is a horrible take. And like Pablo Mastroeni said in the post-game show, he's probably going to get an apology letter from Pro, and that doesn't really matter in terms of the standings. So they can write all they want, those apology letters.
What do you guys think? Do you guys think a penalty is more impactful or a red card? Like at this time in the game, because it's obviously not a penalty, right? We can see the stop frame. RSL most likely would not have scored off of this opportunity simply because we don't have the free kick takers, right? We don't have someone that puts it in the back of the net at that distance, and that's a very hard distance to put it in anyways, where it's so close to the penalty. But they would have been down a man for over 60 minutes. It's infuriating how we don't get this call, and I'm stunned at how he stays on the field, how they don't check this. They barely hold the ball up. When they put the ball back in play, I was honestly shocked. Shocked at how Pablo didn't get himself thrown out in this game. Credit to him. I always want him to do things that aren't smart, but it's a good thing that he's him, because I mean, if you have too many other coaches, you are getting a suspension in this game with how bad the refs were. Audi, what were your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, you guys covered it. It was clear dogs. I think Twellman might have said this on the broadcast, but Victor basically gets punished because he's bigger in this scenario, right? He's the bigger guy. And so because he's bigger and it made it look like it was shoulder to shoulder from the backside, that's why the ref doesn't call it, honestly. But then when VAR looks at it, I mean, as much as I want to get mad at Victor Rivas this entire game and on this call, like VAR should be held reliable for not calling this. Like Victor Rivas has plenty of things to be criticized on and for people to get mad about during this game. Don't get me wrong, but like, don't get mad about Victor Rivas in this one. He doesn't have the best angle when the foul occurs, but VAR has a perfect angle to view and see how that arm was completely hooked around the left torso of Olatunji on the way down. I mean, he has to come across. First off, when you're playing your arm across someone, you're not playing the ball, you're playing the person. And that's exactly what leads to a foul, is when you're playing the person. So by him extending that arm across, he's trying to make himself bigger and then play the person by that. And then not only that, but to just hook your wrist around, that's where it's like night and day, like, of calling it, right? If he would have kept his hand out straight, maybe then there could have been a little bit more of an argument in his stance, but it's the hook that causes, and Olatunji is smart. Like, he goes down. I think Olatunji probably could have fought through this a little bit, but I don't know that even leads to as great of a goal as if the guy just wouldn't have fouled Olatunji, obviously. So yeah, this is clear dog. So it sucks because, like you said, David, or like what Pablo had said, we're just going to get an apology, or Pablo's just going to get an apology, obviously, and then we just have to move on, and it affects us in the standings greatly with losing this game. To your point, Hayden, about like what would you rather have, a penalty or a red, or I guess what's more impactful? In my opinion, like the way you win games is you score goals, and you got to score more goals than the other team. And a penalty, you're more likely to score a goal than if you get a red card, right? So I would say a penalty is, but like a red card this early in the game is not that far off. I mean, like the way that we were playing, if LA would have gone down a man, I mean, we weren't playing great, but it would have given us some juice, and I think we would have been relentless against them the rest of the game. So it's just tough, especially when this happened kind of similar in Vancouver, right? We had the opportunity to have the other team go down a man, and it didn't happen as well. So yeah, it's frustrating, and you hope that DeAndre Yedlin in his comments said that, it was kind of funny. He was getting ready to like call out the refs, and then he kind of like, it was funny. He was like, I'm going to say something and they're probably going to find me. And then when he went on to say what he was saying, it wasn't even that bad. So I felt like he kind of ended up pulling himself back a little bit. But I think he was ready to just kind of unleash his fury on the refs, because it just sucks when they impact games to this extent. And you have VAR for these purposes. Exactly. That was clear and obvious. And to say that wasn't clear and obvious, you shouldn't be back in that VAR booth if that's the case. So super frustrating.
Incredibly frustrating. Let's move on to this next opportunity. RSL was blessed a bit by the soccer gods with some positive karma in this one. Aiden Hezekani absolutely just destroys Jacob Glesnes, so much so that Glesnes gets pulled off at the half. I don't know that I have seen a player demoralize another guy so much that he gets pulled off for non-injury reasons. Very disgusting. Was awesome to see. This play starts from Glad in the backfield and passes it up beautifully up to, I don't know who even passes it to. David's really lagging today, man. It's on him probably. Not the internet. He can blame whatever he wants. But Aiden Herzakani, very, very good run, which is great because before that, didn't have a fantastic half. We'll talk about the players in a minute because it was a struggle in this one. But Luna gives it to Aiden. Aiden goes ahead, cooks Glesnes, who, by the way, didn't get a yellow card for this, which is insane because
Also
this should
insane.
absolutely be a retroactive yellow. His jersey is almost pulled off. If he bends down a little bit more, that's up and over his head, gets it to a wide open Gozo. Gozo puts it off the post, off the goalkeeper's back and into the goal for an own goal. Unfortunately, it's really dumb that this type of own goal doesn't just count as a player's goal because both Aiden and Gozo deserve the goal contribution on this. Unfortunately, this one will go down as an own goal. No RSL player gets on the score sheet in this first half. Very frustrating. The big thing to me that shows how frustrated RSL was with this first half was how little they celebrated this goal. Because there's no reason to be like, oh yeah, let's just grab the ball and go back. You have a couple more seconds until halftime. You can go and celebrate this if you really want to. They are frustrated. They just don't care to even go and celebrate in the corner or do anything. And that was one kind of crazy thing to me in this one that I was like, these guys just aren't satisfied right now. And I do like that from them. I like that they're understanding of, we're not playing a very good game right now. We're not satisfied with this result as is right now. However, from an RSL standpoint, fan standpoint, going into halftime 1-1 after that horrific Victor Rivas no call, aka VAR, like LD said, no call. I mean, you had to have been satisfied at least a little bit that it was like, all right, well, this could be much worse because Galaxy missed a lot of opportunities. Justin Glad came up massive. I believe it was in this first half where Peck had an opportunity with an open net and he puts it right at Glad. Instead, Glad's able to reach out, get his boot to it. If Peck was just a bit more unselfish on that, he had a guy wide open with a wide open shot. Nobody even hoping to defend that, that's able to get to it. So Justin Glad is one of the biggest reasons to that RSL is able to go into this one level. Any other thoughts on the first half?
Can you go back to that side view of that goal, David, where it shows Hezekani on the side before he's about to absolutely roast Glesnes before he plays it into Gozo? Yes, perfect. So as you can see here, right, what I love about this, first off, this guy, the guy on the backside is terrible at marking. When you have a Gozo running in, I get that you have to make use for Olatunji, like you have to take Olatunji on because he's a big presence in the box, and that's most likely where that ball is potentially going to before he fakes out Glesnes. But I think it's really cool to see Olatunji make that run in and occupy those two, and then it leaves Gozo completely wide. Now that center mid that's like making his way into the 18, he should be trailing off a little bit more to defend Gozo, in my opinion there.
Mhm.
But what I loved about this goal is that, like, you saw a lot of, like, good just good runs into the box to essentially open up for Gozo to make that. So, like, as sloppy as, like, we had played this game, it was kinda nice to see, like, finally a sequence where Hezarkhani obviously did his magic, and then you had players just crash in the box like they wanted to score a goal. Like, I think that was my struggle with this attack is, like, I didn't feel like there were too many instances where you had 2, 3, 4 guys crashing the box to try and score a goal, whether that's coming from the side or going towards the 18. So when I saw this, it was, like, nice to see those runs in from Olatunji. I can't remember who that is. Is that Sanabria? No, who's that?
No, that's Caliscan.
That's Caliscan. Okay, yeah. So anyway, I just think that's what we needed more of, and it just seemed a little bit like lackadaisical, a little bit just like sloppy with how even we were like addressing runs into the box. Like it just didn't seem like that support was there for a lot of the game. And so when I saw this goal, I was hoping that was what we were going to see more in the second half of. But yeah, I feel like that's what was something that helped contribute to us finally putting it in the back of the net.
Yep. I like that a lot. RSL goes into the half 1-1 with a lot of work to do to get 3 points, but in a position that they can get 3 points. You come out of the half, you rebound, you go ahead and get back into this thing, and you can grab all 3 points against a team that, again, they're really struggling this season. RSL didn't come out hot. They didn't come out very good in this one. Galaxy also just looked like they didn't care to win this one too much as well. It kind of looked funny because RSL just wasn't able to progress the ball very much. The midfield, this was probably one of the worst midfield games that we've seen in a minute from this RSL squad, which is very unfortunate. And David, I think you make a great point that they might have been exhausted, both players going as long as they did in Miami, so I can very much see the exhaustion set in. And we made some decently early substitutes in this game where Pablo really doesn't make too many subs before around the 65th, 70th minute. He's more of a late subs guy, but he decides that he needs to make some subs pretty early. I believe this was in the 56th minute where he put on Morgan and Sergi Salons for Victor Olatunji, and he took off Aiden Herzakani. I thought both subs made a lot of sense. I was really hoping Sergi would be able to get behind this back line that, again, really struggled. Sergi was able to do nothing in this one. He was invisible. Morgan, I thought, looked good immediately coming on. He was a player that did bring a spark off the bench, especially was able to get Luna going a little bit more. Luna subbed off in the 76th minute, and boy, he had some choice words for Pablo Mastroeni after being subbed off. Keeping in mind, he did have food poisoning on Wednesday. This game's only a couple days later. It's on the road. Are you really expecting him to go 90 after going 90 Wednesday as well? Plus, he was on a yellow card. I think that it made a lot of sense to sub him off. I get he's frustrated. I think the frustration comes more with he was taking off his poor play on Pablo. This was one of his worst games that I've seen him play in quite a long time. Could not connect with anyone, could not get anything moving. He wasn't even as frustrated with his teammates in this one. It just wasn't working for him. Really didn't look great. It wasn't even that he was particularly marked well. He himself just wasn't playing very well. David, your thoughts on Diego Luna being subbed off in the 76th minute and him kind of going berserk with the coaching staff?
Well, yeah, just like you said, it seemed like he was tired. He was out of gas. And honestly, after that Inter Miami loss, it would have been better if we had kind of like a week break instead of having to go to LA 3 days later. So I could still see it in the first half that they were trying to get their heads in the game. And I think that Luna getting subbed off really, I mean, I was fine with it. I understand that he thinks that every moment is an opportunity to get onto the World Cup roster. So when you saw how frustrated he was, I was explaining this to my family on Sunday night Walmart Showdown, but I was explaining that, like, the reason why he's so...
The funniest part is I don't even think it's called that. I think it's presented by Continental Tire. I didn't see Walmart once.
No, yeah,
That's
I didn't
true.
see that
That's
at
true.
all, too.
I think
it's actually Saturday night.
Saturday night.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, I
Thank
think
you.
it's Saturday. That's hilarious.
But I will say
David was searching every corner of the earth for that Walmart logo Sunday night and could not find it.
He's like, why the hell is Continental Tires everywhere? Where's Walmart?
was the Walter Goggins commercials. I was like, I guess they're going to just show Walter Goggins commercials all the time during breaks. But
Oh, that's hilarious.
Overall, with my thoughts, I could sense it. It's like he really wanted to be on the pitch because he needs contributions. He didn't get contributions in this game or in the Inter Miami game, and he's under a microscope, right? So I would say it's probably more about that than his relationship with Pablo or how the game really went. It really is to maximize his opportunities before the World Cup. Well, overall, the player that I did think needed to get subbed out, which I was surprised we never did, was also Gozo. It just seemed like he wasn't creating as much as he did. He did get the goal. I will consider it Gozo's goal, but I will say that he looked a little bit leggy as well in the second half. That second half, and I wanted to just comment on it. Taylor Twellman, I don't agree with him on everything, but he actually did a great job commentating what was in front of him. The second half, LA did not look like they let Noel Caliscan walk into the final third. They let us walk into the final third all the time in that second half. And what's sad is we didn't capitalize on it. And then they, of course, will talk about it, just get a penalty, which I do want to recognize that they did not score an open play this entire game. So when we criticize our defense, like it was a lot of bad luck. And there was some plays that LA Galaxy, and I saw LA Galaxy fans said, oh, it could have been like 4-1 or 5-1. You can say that about any soccer game, right? You guys didn't capitalize that you had an empty net. It happens. But you also didn't score on an open play, which I think speaks to how they were the second half. It didn't really seem like they were going for it. But overall, the substitutions were decent. It was really frustrating second half. We did play better, but so frustrating.
Yeah, very frustrating in this match overall. A lot of players just didn't play well. Junka was a nightmare in this one. Just not a good match from Junka. PQ got burnt quite a bit. Glad was the only saving grace, and it was because he single-handedly saved 2 goals. He had some other mess-ups. Our good friend of the podcast, Ross Smith, I believe that's his last name. I don't know. I never think about his last name. But he said after Glad saved the open goal, it was like he was pissing on fire with how much it actually helped, which I did think that was kind of funny because I was like, yeah, this is awful. But like, hey, you save a goal, you get some praise. I thought Glad was the only sliver of hope back there. Cabral played well as, of course. The goals were not on him. He played really well. In fact, he stopped a 1-on-1 with Paintsel at the very end of this game. The penalty for Galaxy, I wouldn't have been that upset about if they just called it the same way the entire match. It would have been it was a soft penalty, but if you're going to call that, you have to call the other quote unquote soft calls. And he didn't throughout this game. And so the fact that one, he was like, yeah, absolutely. And then Morgan had what looked like to be the exact same hold later in this or about, it was like 3 or 4 minutes later, Morgan gets held what looks like the same way to me and not even looked at. And so that's what was so frustrating in this game. Again, Stein, or was it Stein or Junka who actually had him?
Junka.
I believe Junka was the one that got the yellow.
They gave the yellow to Junka.
And so, I mean, the stop that David has right now, his jersey is being tugged away, right? So you give him a yellow for that, but Glesnes doesn't get a yellow for almost ripping off Aiden's jersey, right? And then you don't have the very handsy center back Oliver Olatunji that doesn't get a red card. So overall, one of the more frustrating matches I've seen. I hate a game where RSL plays terribly, but then the refs are the main talking point because it doesn't feel like you actually get to talk about the problems as much and you get to talk about the cop-outs. And Galaxy is truly such a bad team that it took every single bit of cop-out that they could get to win this game. This team is very, very bad. It sucks that RSL was not able to get a result on the road, even just a draw, but let alone losing back-to-back games for the 19th time in Pablo Mastroeni's RSL tenure. Just not fantastic. David, go ahead.
And can we just talk about how the ref didn't blow the whistle? Like, he let play go on. That was so weird.
Yeah, I'm like, if you're going to call it, call it. He did that several times. I can't remember, it was an RSL player. He let get mauled. And then he was just letting it play on. And then he was finally like, okay, I'll call that whistle. I think it was Morgan was getting mauled. And he finally called the whistle for an RSL free kick. Very frustrating. Dominic came in, did absolutely nothing. That's someone we got to figure out how to get off. We did get Tyler Wolf off loan. So our preseason predictions for what's it called?
Breakout player or something like that.
Breakout player. It's not looking great for us, fellas. None of us are even close. I do believe I had Dominic. Eldy, did you have Wolf?
Yeah, me and David both had Wolf, I thought.
Yeah, just not looking good. I do think we talked about Booth quite a bit as well, who has not broken out for this team. So we did miss. There's been a couple breakout players, of course, but none of us had them pinged as the breakout players of the year. And the ones that we did have just been terrible. Ruiz got his first minutes since February 22nd. Congrats to him. Not going to say that it really went all that well, but he did play. And so that's something. But RSL, I think that they've got some of their work cut out for them in this summer window on who they need to move, because we do have some important roster spots being taken up where at this point you do want those to be used by better options and better players. But it's too early to be talking about that window. RSL drops another game, this time 2-1 to the Galaxy on the road. Back to back, really unfortunate. Eldy, your final thoughts on this match?
Well, I just want to see if we want to have a quick conversation on mine and your chat after the game regarding the forwards that we have on this team.
But you want us to talk about the forwards? It's far and away Sergi for me.
So that's not the question at hand though. The question is, I think we can agree that Sergi has been the better forward. Okay, that's agreeable, but there's like this weird narrative that because Victor doesn't, produce like Sergi has in the last few games, that he's like kind of just not a good forward for our team right now. And I don't think that's the case at all. I think that we need to, and I'm only saying this because Hayden brought this up, but I did see other people responding, on Twitter about this. And I just don't think it's a fair narrative right now for Victor. I think that Victor has a lot of strong suits that can help our team, honestly, to score more goals. If you go back to the goals that he scored last season, our team should actually be more apt to set him up for scoring compared to like the 4 or 5 goals that he scored from last season. If you watch how he scored them, a lot of them were him finding space in between the center backs, running onto the ball, and then he would, place it into the back of the net. However, but
a lot of them, didn't he have like 4? Like,
yeah.
It's not like he's had
4 or
that
9
many
games.
Yeah, but then Victor had 5 and 5. So it's just like, or not Victor, sorry, Salon. So I'm like, I get it, but my point was that there just feels like there's a really big drop off in where we're seeing the 2 nines.
Yes, but listen, if you switched the situations and Victor was getting Sergi's minutes and Sergi's was getting Victor minutes, we've seen Sergi absolutely miss goals that he should have absolutely scored. And the only reason he ends up getting more goals later on is because he gets the minutes in the game to put the ball in the back of the net. So what I'm trying to say is that, like, Sergi, obviously, he deserves to be the starting 9 right now, and he deserves to be the guy who gets the nod to be in the starting 11, because of how he's been scoring and the rate he's been scoring in, and even the style that he plays, because it really does match our team really well. What I'm trying to say that is, just because Sergi is doing really well and plays a certain style, it doesn't mean that Victor is far behind what Sergi is, based on what Victor can be, if that makes sense. Like, Victor has still a lot of potential to be a really good forward on this team. And you want both forwards to play well on this team and to be able to just be beneficial for this team. And so I just think what's been to Victor's detriment is he came back from injury. He's averaged 15 minutes a match for the last 4 matches. The dude finally gets one start, and he gets pulled at the 55th minute on a game where the whole team's playing like crap. And so, I just don't think he's getting the many opportunities, which is understandable. Because like I said, Sergi's playing out of his mind. But Sergi also isn't 100% all the time. We saw how he played in Miami. He didn't make much of an impact coming off the bench this game. So what I'm just trying to say is that you want a Sergi and you want a Victor that can both come in and make an impact on the game. And right now, the team is so used to playing with Sergi that I feel like they're trying to play the same way with Victor. And that's not how you're going to get Victor Olatunji scoring goals. And so I just think that we need to be able to adapt to Victor a little bit more with his skill set.
Go ahead, David.
Yeah, I agree with LD. One thing I would say too is Victor had 3 really good chances in that first half, right?
Yes,
he had
exactly.
that ball that JT saved. It was a great save. The second one, the ref should have called it a red. If he got a red card out of that, we would probably be good on Victor, right? Mm-hmm. Our narrative would change. And then the third, it was kind of a soft shot, but he did have a shot that just went into the LA Galaxy's goalkeeper's chest.
And on that third shot, David, on that third shot, David, he created that shot. He could have just tried to hit it with his left, but he literally lets the ball go through his legs and turns. So it literally makes the guy spin like a top. And that's how he gets that shot open to make that shot. Obviously, he didn't hit it very well. It went to the keeper, but I loved how he even created that opportunity to get that shot off as well.
Now, I do see Hayden's point with Sergi's better with hold up play. He did hold up the ball pretty well in the second half. My thing is one thing about rotation is you can't just expect Victor Olatunji and Dominic Marchuk and some of these guys that never see the pitch, like Alex Catranis, to come in pretty well if they've never seen the pitch before. If they're not getting these games.
Solans did it though, right? He came in and has never seen the pitch before, and then he put up 5 crazy starts with 5 goals. So it's
okay, but how has he been with? But how has he been with Miami, and how has he been in this the last 23?
Yeah,
teams are players are going to go through these phases, but they're going to be hot and they're going to die out. So again, I'm not trying Hayden.
I'm not trying to say Solans is way up there. What I'm trying to say is I think that we should have better. What I'm saying is the excuse of not having enough time for Victor doesn't necessarily resonate as much with me when we do see it from a guy who was the third string guy on this team, being able to come in and just do it right off the bat.
But
that
Victor
is
did
something
it too.
that not this season.
He did it in San Diego. He did it in San Diego.
Yes, he did it in San Diego right off the bench.
Did he score in San Diego? Am I forgetting that?
Yes, he literally scored right off the bench.
See, that's my bad. I forget that one. I'm looking more at this game. When I've seen him come on, it is such a different way of playing. So obviously you're going to say, hey, if that team's LD, your point about if we don't form our team to Olatunji's game, you're not going to see as good results, right? Because he's not Sergi. That's very clear. Sergi is, I don't know how much midfield he played, but he is very good with his feet. Victor's not that guy where you can just expect him to win the ball, hold the ball forever like Sergi does. But that doesn't mean that what Victor does isn't as important, because what Victor does and Sergi doesn't do as well, Victor draws guys to him like no other. Victor will always have 2 guys on him because of the presence that he has. Like that goal that you really did a great job of breaking down with the Gozo goal. Sergi probably doesn't have that kind of the presence in the box, right? That's something that Victor has because of his size and because, he's just a dominating guy. He's very strong. So I get your points. As of right now, if we're just saying, hey, the narrative on Olatunji is too strong, that he's a poor player, fine. I very much agree there, especially when, this argument is a very good argument compared to the arguments that we were having last year at the 9 position with Agata and hell who else knows, the forwards that we had. I think Olatunji is a good player, but right now it's clear in a way the best 9 on this team is Solans. And whenever you do have opportunities, you are working on those opportunities to take back over that 9 spot, that starting 9 spot. And in this game, it didn't move the needle at all for me that he was ready to take back his spot, because it really is taking it back and not just taking it. And obviously Sergi, he needs to have a bounce back game. He's had a bad start against Miami. You're absolutely right. He did nothing against Miami. And then he really didn't do too much outside of hold-up play. In fact, he had a couple pretty poor missed opportunities against the Galaxy where it's just Sergi, this does not help my narrative against LD right now.
I guess what I'm trying to say is just and I guess we've already talked about this. We agree this. Sergi deserves to be the number 9, but don't just come to a quick judgment of who Olatunji is this season based off of averaging 15 minutes a match over the last 4 matches since being back from injury. And then on top of that, like David said, if we talk about a red card that actually gets called, if we talk about an amazing kick save that doesn't happen by the LA Galaxy keeper, right? If we talk about Victor being a little more clinical and creating that, when he created that third opportunity to put the ball in the back of the net, the narrative completely changes. So I'm just saying it's still really early in the season. Sergi's gotten a majority of the minutes. Victor has not. Don't write Olatunji off all of a sudden is all I'm saying. I think he can be super beneficial. And I'm not even saying that he eventually has to be the starting number 9, but there has to be a way that this team can make use of both of them whenever they're on the pitch. And they both have to do their part as well.
Well, Odie, that actually makes a great point, though. It's not about writing Olatunji off. It's about can coaching staff make these adjustments, right? Because we keep on hearing about this amazing depth that RSL has. And I do believe we have amazing depth. If you have the option of having Olatunji or Solans come off the bench, I think you're pretty happy if that's Olatunji, right? If Solans keeps on putting up the numbers he does. But you also have Aiden Herzakani coming off the bench. You also have, DeAndre Yedlin, who came off the bench in this game. And I think Peak has been much better than I thought he would be this season, especially against the faster players. He is very speedy. End of story. We have to be better with these subs. Our guys do have to be able to come in and play a different type of game to form around other types of players. And it's really not shown too much. And I do think that is a bit more on coaching. I think coaching's done terrific with the change in formation, but at the big glaring moments, and I think this goes into our conversation, is we're not changing our style of play to the players that we have on the pitch. It doesn't have to be one player, but we're not doing it with really any of them. Other than Luna, I think we're really forming around his style. And then big thing, we can't get a shutout to save our lives. We're not giving up an insane amount of goals per game. It's usually only 1 or 2 goals a game, but we are one of the last 5 teams this season to not have a shutout so far. We join SKC, St. Louis, Portland. There was one Eastern team. If you show me the standings, I can get it. It was Portland, St. Louis, and Sporting Kansas City in the West with us. And then there was one Eastern Conference team that hasn't got a shutout. It wasn't Philadelphia. It was Orlando. Orlando has not got a shutout with us. Just us 5. Everyone else has been able to get a shutout so far. RSL, 17 goals for, 14 goals against. Giving up a lot of goals. And the goals have dried up the last 2 games. We do have a very important matchup coming up May 2nd against Portland. Portland Timbers have struggled as well. They did have a very impressive win against San Diego. If you guys watched that game, it was a fantastic watch. Portland versus San Diego. They played 9 matches. They have 3 wins, 1 draw, 5 losses, 13 goals for, 19 goals against. Currently sitting in 12th place, 6 points behind RSL. And Portland's a team that I always feel like it's a struggle when we're on the road, but when we're at home against this team, I do feel pretty confident, especially against his attack. The main players to watch out for, Anthony, who had an awful game against San Diego. If you thought any RSL attackers had a bad game, go back and watch his lowlights. He had an open goal miss somehow, and then he had another one where he was slightly offside. Open net, he just put it wide. Don't know how he did it, but just couldn't get it in. So Portland, how worried are you guys if we don't get all 3 at this point where, and keep in mind, before we start talking about being too worried, let's just put this into perspective. RSL has 6 more matches left until the World Cup break, and then we are on a pretty decent break for about 2 months where we don't see RSL play at home again from May 16th until sometime in August. We have over 2 months where RSL will not play a home game. So I feel like these home games are incredibly important right now, even though it's May, it's early in the season. I do think that these matches have much more importance because there's just not that many home games before we have that break. And I hate to say it, I think before we lose players, I don't think we hold on to everyone. I do think that there's a very, very strong possibility that Gozo gets sold in this summer window, and hopefully we can make some moves. But we don't have that long with this current squad, and you don't know what's going to happen in the World Cup. LD, how worried are you if RSL does not get all 3 against Portland?
Yeah, look, I'd be concerned because, we have established that we are a good team, okay? We are a good team this season. But Pablo keeps bringing this up. We don't want to be just be a good team. We want to be a great team, right? And great teams find a way to get out of these ruts, all right? And the problem is we're running out of time. We're running out of games before we take a huge break in the middle of the summer, as you mentioned. And so I guess you can look at it in 2 ways, right? Either we continue on this trend where we just don't play well, we're dropping points. The summer might be a very good thing for us to hurry and take a break because maybe we just need to reset. And then after the summer, see where things go from there. But then again, you have the potential of losing players. So you don't know what's going to happen there. Or we get out of this rut, we play very well, and then we take a much needed break and then hopefully pick up from that after the World Cup break is over. But at the end of the day, like I want to be higher up in the standings before that World Cup breaks than not. So I would be concerned if we're not picking up a full 3 points against Portland. You had your chance to show that you guys were a real competitive or contending team in MLS by trying to beat Miami at home, especially after the performance you just pulled off against San Diego at home. I know San Diego's been really, down bad. They have not been good. But, still, with the performances you'd shown this season, I think you should have been able to do a lot more than you did against Miami midweek. And then to travel to LA and then show the performance that you did against a struggling LA side who had only had 2 wins prior to playing us, I believe, if that's correct.
Yeah.
Am I right there? 2 wins, right? Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So like that was just another hard. And again, like yes, reffing went into it. There was a lot of situations that happened that kind of led to us eventually losing that game. But still, there was plenty that we could have done from an execution standpoint. We did not play good soccer. It wasn't like we played really good soccer and we were just unlucky because we couldn't put the ball in the back of the net, and then the ref made a bad decision. Like we played sloppy. We played not great. And so if we go to Portland and it's a similar trend where we don't play well and we continue to play sloppy and we're passing it to the other team and not coming up with good scoring opportunities, like I'm going to be legitimately concerned. So I'm really hoping though that, I believe in this team. I think they can pull themselves out of this rut. Me and David were talking about this earlier. I think this was a good time for a little bit of humbling to happen, a little piece of humble pie to be taken by this team to show that like we're not anywhere yet. We haven't done anything this season. As quick as we were to rise up the standings, we've quickly dropped down, to 6th place now. So anyway, I just really hope that they can get together and find a will to beat Portland, because I think we really need it with the amount of time that's left. Like you said, there's only a few games after the Portland game before we head into that summer break. So
5 matches left. RSL has 4 out of the 5 against teams lower than them currently in the standings. At Minnesota is the only one that is currently ahead of them in the standings, and they are just barely ahead. RSL actually does control that they can get ahead because they have a game in hand, and if they won that game in hand, they would be ahead on points. So I won't even call Minnesota ahead of the standings as of right now. This next 5 games, May is probably the most important time of the season for this team. When we were looking before the season started, we said May was going to be important because the schedule gets much softer. Out of the 5 games, 3 of them are at home. Dallas on the road in early May, that is a blessing. Not having to go to that team in the heat of the summer, that is huge. Houston at home, Colorado at home, a rivalry game where they're going to be coming in hot. They've really taken this rivalry seriously. We'll have to see with the new coach how much that is still an emphasis. With their last coach, it was massive. New coach, we'll have to see. But the next 5 games, 15 points available. RSL, my opinion, you got to get 10 of them minimum. David, go ahead.
Well, for sure. And I just wanted to point out the trend is we play all Western Conference teams. Like, this is why these games are must wins, because when you are going against Western Conference teams, it matters more in the standings. So when you see, like, and I just want to make a comment on it, like, I would be very concerned if we lose to Portland. I hope that in May
what
we
about
see
a draw?
Our first shutout. We need a shutout. If it's 0-0, maybe I'm decent, but we need a shutout. Like, we're just dying for it, right? You want the defense to be proud of themselves for like at least one match. So really, yeah, it has to be a win. I think Dallas is a hard place to play. It's harder than LA typically for us. I know they said on the broadcast we haven't won in LA for a while, but really Dallas is a better team, I think, than LA is. And
Peter, as long as Musa's healthy, he got hurt. So if he's hurt, that is a much easier game. I don't know how hurt he is, but he's been on a tear this season.
For sure. But for sure, we need to get some points out of the next 3 home games if we want to go into the World Cup break above the playoff line.
Yep.
Hayden, do you have our 10 game like prediction that we did at the beginning of the season still?
I don't have it right off the top of our head, but I know none of us are even close on it. We're at 9 so far. So we actually have one more to go. It's Portland as the 10th game. It should have been Seattle. So this one we should be through 10, but unfortunately that Seattle game got moved to September. But we have exceeded our expectations. However, as I like to say, expectations change as the season goes on. They can get better or they can get worse, and you have to adapt to expectations. Preseason expectations can't stay the same. You can't say, oh yeah, I guess we're happy to be here. No, we're a really good team. We need to prove that we're a really good team. And teams like San Jose, holy cow, they are proving that they are a great team. It is actually insane to watch. But let's go ahead, talk about RSL Portland. Let's just go ahead and get our predictions for this from the last matches. None of us got wait, did you get that one, David?
LA Galaxy. I predicted 2-1.
So what does that put you at on standings? You got to update the standings.
I haven't updated it, but I would imagine that it puts me at 8 with LD. Yeah. I think it's 8 with LD.
I'm getting into Jimbo territory. This is not good.
David, Jimmy, where he just predicts 4-0 wins every game.
Yeah, Jimmy's like, we're never going to concede a goal, and we're going to score so many goals every single game. That's all Jimmy predicts. But David, go ahead. Give us your predictions.
I'm just doing a dream. I don't know if this is going to be reality, but my dream is 3-0 Real Salt Lake wins.
3-0, Audi, go ahead.
I'm going to say we're going to get a shutout. It's going to be 2-0. And we hate 2-0 wins because that usually means that we're like super scared that if a team scores a goal against us, then that we're just going to drop the bag. But I think we pull it out. I think the team gets together. They rally together. I think Pablo gets the boys ready. Portland hasn't been that great this season, so 2-0 win RSL.
Yeah, I'll follow you guys. I think Diego Luna needs to go off. If he wants that World Cup call, he's got 5 games left to prove it. I don't think he has it in the bag yet, especially with how good Aronson's been over in Leeds. One of those guys he's going up against to get one of those final World Cup spots. I do think Luna has to start going off. I think that the last 2 matches he's been held very quietly. We thought he played well against Miami, but obviously he's got to show up on the stat sheet to get called into that World Cup team. I'm going to go, I really want to predict our shutout. I don't think we're going to get it. 3-1. Portland does give up a little bit over 2 goals a game. However, we concede almost 2 goals a game. I don't think this is the time where we get it. They have a very solid attack with Kelsey as their 9. I think that they have too many decent attacking options. However, Phil Neville's also an idiot. So hopefully we'll be okay against that Portland squad. For Jimbo, we'll go 4-0 RSL. Jimbo hasn't. David, you're the producer. You got to do better.
He doesn't
making sure
reply
that you
to
get
me. What am
you
I
gotta
supposed
tag
to
him.
do?
You got to tag him. Like, you got to do better because we can't have 2 missing. David, this is on you. He hasn't given us a prediction
You
since
need to chase him down, David. Chase him down.
Yeah, it's your one job.
He just wants a tattoo. He just wants a tattoo, guys.
He might want a tattoo. That might be true. But thank you so much for listening to this, a longer episode of Royal Riot. We will be back with you next Monday and Tuesday. Hopefully after a good Portland win, previewing the upcoming Dallas game, reviewing the Portland game that was. Again, thank you so much for tuning in to this episode. If you like us, make sure to go give us a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify Podcasts. That would be greatly appreciated. If you don't like us, David is no longer private on Twitter or X, so go ahead and DM him. He's the producer, so he's got to get everything. So I think that he should have them, and I'm pretty sure we are the Walmart Saturday showdown this time. Go ahead.
Real quick, I just want to say, for as much as it's been sucky this week to be an RSL fan, go Royals. Like, literally.
Yeah, go Royals, for sure.
Yeah, they went to Seattle away, swept them 3-0. They're in 3rd place right now. So, like, if you got to find a silver lining in with Utah soccer, like, pay attention to the Royals because they're doing some things this year, which is nice to see.
Speaking of the Royals, make sure to tune into their episode. Should be coming out on Wednesday, I believe. I saw in our Slack chat that they are planning on recording tomorrow. So as long as that goes through, you should have a very fun episode to listen to with our producers, Maggie, Sean, Brooke, and the GOAT, the hater of rice, Stockton. Thank you all so much for listening to this episode. David, tune us out.